up next, I decided I just want to give this team a very short intro, which is it's alive. So take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Jeff Hatcher. This is Mark Lopez, Sam Alsamati, and Vez Natan, and we are the team behind FrankenStyle. FrankenStyle is a Chrome extension that allows a user to manipulate the appearance of any website using an easy-to-use graphical user interface. As developers, we wanted to create something that would provide a visualization for coding CSS in real time. But whether you're a developer or someone with no coding experience whatsoever, FrankenStyle allows you to make style changes in websites without having to touch any code. At this point, I'd like to turn things over to Mark, who will tell you more about how FrankenStyle works.
Thanks, Jeff. So imagine we have a user, Frank, who is a developer interested in installing his website. Through the pop-up, Frank initializes the app as an iframe sidebar. So the pop-up screen, the Chrome, since FrankenStyle is separate from the website, we use the Chrome Runtime API to communicate between our app and the content script, which interacts with the DOM. The content script continuously listens for messages coming from our React app. So when Frank toggles the select element button, a message from FrankenStyle is sent, which adds event listeners for hovering and clicking to the DOM. Frank can then find an element to style by hovering over the page, where a border outlines the current element. Frank decided on an element, so he clicks on the page, which removes the event listeners from the DOM. A message from FrankenStyle is sent, or a message from the content script is sent, which includes the CSS selector information, which is displayed in the sidebar, and right? And activates the styling options. Sam will now walk through the styling features of FrankenStyle.
Thanks, Mark. So as Mark mentioned, users will be available, like they're going to have options to change CSS properties from 5 different tabs. For example, going back to our example with Frank, let's say he decides that he needs to style his page more, maybe by changing the font color, background color, and maybe flex. In order to do that, he just needs to go to Flex tab, where he can enable Flex box by just clicking on a button. Once Frank does that, what is actually happening behind the scenes is that our application is persisting those changes in our Redux store, which is built on top of Chrome's local storage. We were able to create the link between our Redux store and our local storage using the Chrome Storage API. In addition, we have listeners in the content script that are listening to any changes that could happen in the local storage, and we are using the same API for that purpose. And to get more information on what happens whenever user changes are pushed to the local storage, I'm going to pass it over to Vez.
Thank you, Sam. As Sam mentioned, our content script detects any changes to our store, whether it's in the form of new properties that have been added or changes changes to already existing properties. And then after that, the data from the store will be parsed into a CSS-like string, which will then be injected into the head of the DOM, so that these changes can be reflected on the web page. In order to do this, we first had to decide on how to store our data, as we wanted to create a CSS file that can also be downloaded. We accomplished this by modifying the Redux store so that it can closely resemble that of a CSS structure. The byproduct of this is a more modular and dry code base. So now Frank can download all of his changes as a CSS file that he can later apply directly to his code base. And now here's Jeff.
Thank you, Vez. Finally, Frank can leave notes on his page by clicking our sketch button. And when he's done with that, he can refer back to his notes by taking a screenshot. For these functionalities, we used a combination of the P5.js library as well as Chrome's native desktop capture API. At this point, Frank's app has been fully FrankenStyled, and we appreciate you all listening. Thank you so much. Please look out for FrankenStyle in the Chrome Web Store coming soon. Thank you.
All right. To vote for FrankenStyle, follow the instructions below. Like the post. Like the pinned comment. That's it. It's very nice.
It's a kind of AR.
Yeah, it's
kind of
2D
except like reality plus. So yeah, I mean, I really liked FrankenStyle. I think I always appreciate when students kind of appreciate CSS and you know all the power that it holds. Like in some sense, it's you know very. I feel like it's actually I think underloved and underappreciated, and so I think you know they built actually a pretty powerful tool that you know that helps you appreciate CSS even more, learn it a little bit.
Yeah, and the downloading the CSS edits, that's really cool too.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Representing that change in the Redux store, I'm sure that's kind of like a mind twisty kind of thing.
Yeah, it was really interesting. They had a lot of fun with that.